Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to part 2. I've realized something. This is a good camera, but honestly, I don't like how wide the view angle is. I think it would be better, you know, if we could focus in on what we're actually doing and if it looked closer, so I could have it further back but zoomed in a bit. I think that would be a great thing. Let me know down in the comments what you think. So, for this part, we are going to be doing the micro Swiss install. Now, I have already done the main bracket portion because it's just a lot easier to do that with two hands and with the camera out of the way. I am using my headset, that way the boom mic is out of my way. I don't have to worry about changing, where it's at mid video. But I'm going to cover most of this install. I'll cover the extruder, I'll cover the hot end, and then in the next video, we'll cover my voron cooling setup. So please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And here we go. So, as I said, the first thing you're going to want to do is install these two brackets to your rail. Now, I kind of cheated because, I've seen it's like you got to get the 4 screws in the hole, get them started. I didn't do that. I put one screw through, cheated, looked behind it, lined it up, put that one in, then did another. Made my life a whole lot easier. So give me just a second. I'll click over and I'll pull up these instructions on this here, and we will get it done. Now, again, this was purchased with my own money. None of this was provided. This is all paid for out of my pocket. Now, I will say that I like the instructions that Micro Swiss has. They're very good. Right now, we are basically going to be on step 2. We are actually going to reinstall the belt. So, I'm just going to clip that in there. The same as it was. Well, get a better angle here. I am realizing one thing. There we go. Oh, oops, sorry about that. The mic hit the machine there, folks. So, let me move this out of the way here. Get that poked up in there into the rail. All right, now that is on there. Now we are going to reinstall our tensioner here. Again, easy thing. You've probably done it a million times. Just slip that in. And silly me, let's put the T-nuts in first. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I really don't like these standard T-nuts. Like I said in my last video, the ones I got I really prefer them. They don't rotate once they're in there. They just slide. They don't spin. There's none of that pain in the butt. You got it. See? Like that one just did. It's just... And they all come from the same country. I don't see why it's such an issue to just provide the good ones. But hey, I'm not a marketing guru. What would I know? So let me grab a screwdriver here to get these stupid things in there the way we want them to go. Man, those are just horrible design, ain't they, folks? I mean, I don't exactly have fat fingers, so I don't see why I have so much trouble with these things. As I'm sure a lot of you have noticed from my videos, I'm not exactly a big guy here. They just like to make some of this stuff hard. Now, see, there's the issue we run into. All right. See, you get that stupid thing in there. And then they just don't want to work. I do officially hate that design. But you know what? I'm going to leave that right there because I'm not going to bore you guys with that horrible fiddliness. Now, it does say that we need the extruder parts. Let's see what we've got here. So you'll obviously need your extruder motor. There's that. Now, the issue I've run into, and I just did run into, is if you don't have the extruder motor that has the flat spot on it, well, folks, you don't have the right one. And that's not exactly a good thing. So, what are we going to do about that? Well, folks, I am going to come right back to you. Now, before I do, though, I would like to point out that if you are in the situation I am in, there is an item that will greatly help you. This is just a 3D printed puller for the extruder wheel. 3D printed, an M4 bolt nut, bam, you're ready to go. I actually had it all in spare parts. So what I'm going to do off video, I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to take my Dremel to my original stepper motor so I can get that flat spot we need for the grub screw. So folks, I'll be right back to you. All right, folks, and welcome back. That was easy to do, just a little bit with the Dremel, or you could use a file. Dremel's just a lot easier and faster. Now, it says that basically we are going to use the 3 provided M3 screws. Now the instructions, the exact word is install the extruder motor on the aluminum cartridge. Use the provided 3 M3 screws. Make sure the motor connector is facing upwards. So let's get that done, shall we? Now I'm glad I read that part because knowing me, folks, I'd have put the damn plug facing the wrong way. Because, hey, I don't pay enough attention half the time anyway. Now, I'm not going to tighten this yet. I'm just going to get it snug enough. There we go. So that it holds that motor. Now, this is kind of like replacing your original extruder. You're only going to use 3 of these because you put the arm in the place of the last one. So you will need that longer screw. Now I'm going to snug these down. Now they're in there. Now I'm going to tighten them. Not going to go crazy on it. It's one thing I like about using these standard tools is you can't really just wrench on something. All right, now let me get that one out of the way because that's the one off my all metal extruder assembly there. You gotta love it when you do this, folks. Let me get that out of the way. And by the way, that puller worked just an absolute treat, ladies and gentlemen. It really did. So, kudos again for that. Ah, there it is. Still had it in the bag. So let's get this arm out. Let's get that special bolt we all know we need. Now it says there's nothing too fancy there. Yet, we're just going to get that in there. Get it started. There you go. Look at that. It's all on there. Man, I'm not going to lie, folks. This is why I'm going to be getting another camera. Because you are right now about 8 inches away from the printer. I'm not going to lie. Y'all are in my way. But that's all right. We'll work around it. This is what happens. Now, I did see a helpful little piece of advice online about doing this next step here. So let me get a piece of filament cut off. All right. Because what you got to do is you got to line your extruder gear up. Now by that I mean you got to line it up with the arm. Now see folks, this is why you do this. Because I am not going to lie. Shoot, I ain't aligned at all. Heck, I done messed the whole thing up. I'm a good 4 or 5 millimeters out of whack. And just like that, I dropped that all-important piece of filament there. Now, what you're going to want to do is you want to take this here piece of filament, you feed it through that hole, and basically you're going to use that to help you align. Look at that, nice and smooth. And then you're going to tighten down. Well, if I could remember. All right, so I want that right there because that's where that flat spot is. And it is pretty easy to do this, folks. It really is. All right, right there, I'm all lined up. I'm going to tighten up this grub screw here on this flat spot that we just had to grind in there. Now, I'm going to test it out. Now, obviously, the stepper's not wanting to turn much. There we go. Now, that feels good right there. I am happy with that. I'll finish tightening that little grubber down there. Here we go, all done. Now that was easy. Now, you could save a lot of trouble if you went and bought a new stepper that had that flat spot on it. They're not expensive, but I just didn't want to because why when you can just modify, reuse, and recycle what you have. So now it's telling me we're going to need our spring. And then we're going to need the knob. Now I got to find, there's the knob. So, all right. Now this is going to go through like that. You want to push it. Well, that's a little embarrassing there, folks. Did I tighten that too much? I don't think I did. I highly doubt it anyway. But let's loosen it up just a second here. Now, folks, I see the problem here. I done made a mistake. There's 2 flat spots on this here that you got to line up. And that is a heck of a screw, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you. Or a heck of a spring there. That is, that's a dandy. Now, they say that you want the end of this to be flush as a starting point with the end of that. Now, I am not going to lie, folks. My hands are a little sore. So, I'm going to cheat just a little here. Wow, that is, like I said, folks, that is one heck of a spring they got in there. Oh, well, there we go. All right, now we got that in there. Now, of course, they reference that as a starting point. Now it says right here, screw in the lever adjusting knob until the pin is flush with the knob. I get that. Now we are going to move on to the hot end, which is the fun part, folks, ain't it? Okay, folks, now I'm not going to lie to you here. I have already done the hot end assembly itself. Now I'm going to link a video down below on how to do this. It's a lot easier to do off camera. There's way better videos on how to do it. So I will link that below. Go ahead and click on over to that because it's going to explain it better than I can at this time because, hey, it's the video I used. Now, I've got mine all set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. Now, I don't know just how well y'all can see it. But right here on this end of this little piece of tubing that comes with the kit, it's cut at an angle. Now you want that angle pointed like that. You're going to insert that up into there. Let me just look out under it. Here we go. All right, now you are going to use the stock screws from your original hot end. Oh, no, looks like these ones are different, so I'm going to get them started. Now, another thing I'm not going to bore y'all with is I am replacing my thermistor and my heating element there for a simple fact of I couldn't get it out of the other one. So rather than fuss with it, shoot, folks, I'm just going to replace it, seeing as I got like 3 spares anyway. Looks like I need to get that up there just a little more. But I'm going to cheat again, folks. I'm going to get one of these here started. Remember, an important thing here is you are just screwing into aluminum. So try to remember that. This is not steel you're using. This is a steel screw into an aluminum plate. That aluminum is going to strip out a lot sooner than you think and a lot sooner than that bolt is. So, now I got that in there. I'll come over here and get this one started too. There we go. I think we got her about lined up right. And there she goes. Now I'm going to support that hot end assembly till I get these drove in most of the way because I don't want to risk stripping it. Now I can tell you that, putting this hot end and cooling block and all that together was easy. It really was. Now, as you can see, that's on there looking all pretty. That's going to get us those higher temps that we want to print at. Now, one other thing I am going to bore you all with is, see, now you look at that, I done messed up. This is a bracket I had to 3D print out of PETG for the voron setup that I'm going to be using. Now, I forgot that in order to get it in here, you got to have this sucker loose. I'm going to see if I can do it without taking it off. Now we're about to the end of this particular video. As soon as I can There we go. She's in there. All right. Now, I got a couple little M3 screws here that are going to hold this beautiful beauty right there. Now, I can't remember what size I used for this. I just didn't want them sticking out too far. So, now this is, I will link the cooling assembly that I'm using down below. But if you are running the CR Touch or the BL Touch, there are different brackets. Now, the one where the actual cooling assembly comes from, there's a remix on it for this bracket because the CR Touch is different than the BL Touch in relation to where the wire hooks up. So make sure you get the right one, folks. That's a very important thing. I'd hate for y'all to spend a couple hours printing the part and end up with the wrong mount. There we go. Just about done here, and then we'll move on to see what the next set of instructions says. Now, another thing that you're going to see on this channel is I am going to be building a heated and cooled enclosure. So one of the things right now, I'm going to set up the Bowden tube to the extruder and everything like they did in the instructions. But eventually, my filament dryer will be mounted up top of the box, and it will feed straight down through the Capricorn tubing into the top here. Because that's definitely the best way to go with this setup. So that is my recommendation. Now, when we do start doing that video, there will be a link to it as well, because I am personally going to make some adjustments. I want it a little larger because eventually I do want to do the Ender Extender kit on this. So, be doing that here in the future. Now, we got our hot end on and everything. Now, one of the things you're going to want to do that I can't do yet because I've got to do all my wiring because I also broke my cooling fan the other day, is I've got to run my wires. Now, normally you would reuse your heating element and everything, and then your next step would be you would bring this up to temperature and you would retighten your nozzle. Obviously, I'm not going to do that today. And then the next step after that is you would reinstall all your cooling and everything. Again, we are going to skip that. And we are actually going to move on to, looks like, step 13, ladies and gentlemen. So, we want to grab a couple of M3s here. Now, you're going to want some nuts with these as well. Now, these are going to go over here where your stock extruder was. Again, simple little thing to do. Let's see here. Get the right Allen on here. Because what's going to happen is your filament's basically going to follow the track that it originally did. So, simple thing. Again, this will be one of those things that just goes in the trash when I'm all done with my enclosure here. Come on, you get your little nutty butt on there. Makes you on the nutty bar there, don't it, folks? That there was a shout out to my mom. She used to have a thing for nutty bars. She'd eat them by the box, I swear. All right. Now, I am just going to give that a bit of a snug there. Come over here, grab my needle nose. Finish tightening that down. Come on. There we go. Helps when you actually grab a hold of the nut, don't it? All right, now on to the next step. Now, once you have that on there, you're going to look down through your instructions and you'll see the steps for your filament guide tube. Now, I'm going to move some of this clutter out of the way here that was helping give me some more room there, and I'm going to bring that on down. Hopefully y'all still got a good view of that. Let me check you out here. You know, let's go ahead. Here we go. Alrighty. Now, like I said, folks, we're just about done for this video. Now, this did come with one of them annoying, absolutely horrendous little C-clips, little circlips. Now, I absolutely hate these darn things. Now, another thing you're going to want to do is when you put this PTFE tube in here, make sure you put one of them little clips on there. That way it don't back out on you. And you do that and, well, shoot, folks, you ought to be just about right. Now, you know that ain't never good news, folks. I can't find that stupid little third clip. So I'm going to hit y'all on pause real quick while I go and find one. Alrighty, folks, and welcome back. And you know what? I found the clip. It was still in the bag. But before we get to that, you know, I discovered why this dang arm was just so stiff. Well, I'll be darned. The spring I used was the wrong one. I didn't use the one that comes with the kit. Heck, I used the one that came with the upgraded Creality extruder. Now, this ought to go a lot easier this time around. Oh, look at that. Now, that's a lot nicer. Look at that. Didn't need to cheat with the pair of pliers. Here, I just thought it was the arthritis kicking in, folks. Oh, yeah, that's much better. I like that. All right. Now that I've got that clip, folks, we are going to get on to installing our tubing. Now, I am going to use the same end that was in the hot end on there, but maybe not. So what I'm going to try to do, there we go. I'm going to use that one there. Now I'm going to make sure here, did they put a lip in there? Or am I hitting something? Nope, folks, that is an attention to detail micro Swiss. I want to thank you for that. They've actually machined a little lip in there just so you can't put your tubing in too far. That's a good attention to detail, folks. So that's what you get when you buy a genuine micro Swiss. You know, they are made in Minnesota. Actually, you know, I have been to Minnesota, and it's really nice to see a company in that great state doing something like this. I spent 8 months out there. I used to install tracking devices on fleet vehicles for United Rentals. I did that for 8 months in the wintertime, and folks, let me tell you, it is a beautiful state full of beautiful, amazing people. Again, Micro Swiss, I want to thank you for that great attention to detail you did there. Now, let's see here. Make sure I'm doing this right, because as we've seen, I'm not perfect. I am a beginner. And I just want to make sure that I do it right. Now, I think, yes, there we go. There was one of them there little clips on there. So you are going to push that in there just like you would any other time. You're going to get all the way in there. Now, what I like to do is I like to take my little Creality supplied nippers here. And I like to use them to push back on this there, what you call it there, so that I can make sure, darn mic, and so that I can make sure that that is in there all the way. And then I can come around and I can put that clip right back into its little home where it's happy at. There we go. That tube's in there nice and secure on both ends. Now again, folks, I'm not going to bore you with watching me plug all this in and wire it up. But down in the description below will be a link to this. I did buy this straight from Micro Swiss. And you know, it only took about 3-4 days to arrive from the time I paid for it. Really good customer service over there. Fast shipping. Guys, I really appreciate it. And as far as the build quality, I'm sure there's going to be no issues, but I'm happy with it. So far, it's sturdy. It's well machined. Good job.